What's up, fam? How are you doing? Welcome to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for just clicking my name. And if it's your second time or your third time, or you're always a member of this family, kisses to you. So of course you've seen the background, which means it's story time. I remember the last story time I was having coffee and I said that I'm a tea person, and yes, today I'm representing the tea community. Like I have some tea with me, and in case you're wondering what flavor, I'm having green tea, passion and jasmine, yes, which is really nice. Focus, camera, focus, yes, there. So I'm having that. On today's story time, I'm going to share with you where it all began, where the hustle began. And if you've been on this channel for quite some time now, you already know that I left home when I was 19 years old. And I think because I've mentioned it in one of my stories during all of these videos that I'm always doing, and there's also a story that I did about gone too soon, and there are some parts of this story that I already mentioned on that story because they're kind of linked together. So in case you didn't watch that, click on that link for ping, and then you'll be able to watch it and come back, or maybe finish watching this and then go watch it. Cool? So let's get to it. But first, grab your coffee, or maybe if you're a tea person like me, get some tea, and then let's begin. Before I start the story, I want you to flash back and picture yourself like when you're 19 years old. Would you have done whatever I did? At the end of this story, would you have done whatever I did? And think like a 19-year-old when I'm telling you this story, and that was where I was then. And also maybe if you're younger and you're watching this, would you do this when you're 19? Would you? A few years back, when I was that age that I just mentioned, a few years back, I was staying with a cousin of mine, and I think when you're a teenager, the way you're thinking and the way you're reasoning is usually just different. The things that you feel like you're not being given, which I felt at that point. I'm telling you, the house that I was staying in was, one, you could not leave the house without, of course, saying where you're going. 2, you could not come back to the house late. 3, I could not do the reasons why I even left. I used to go to church, and in our church is very active, and I still go to the same church, by the way, up to date. And that church used to be very active. They used to have drama club, they used to have dancing groups, they used to have so many things. And this is the thing, when you used to go to church, you are always told to be home by a certain time. Like when the service ends like this, you're all supposed to go home. And when I was staying there, I felt like I wanted to be part of that drama team. I wanted to join the dance group. I wanted to do all these things, but I could not do, and I was in this house. The week before I left, my nephew is actually 2 years older. Yeah, 2 years older than me. Yes. And my nephew, I said my nephew, not my cousin. So yeah, so my nephew and I were planning to run away from home. And the reason why, because the last couple of weeks, even before that last week, the couple of weeks that had passed, were always just, every time we have those family meetings, there are just problems about us. Like everyone was just making noise to us. Like we felt like we were just, the problems were just following us. Every single thing that we did was just like, it wasn't good at all. So we decided we wanted to run away with him. And he told me that, you know what, my friend called so and so, and they live in a nice place called, of course, for those who are living in Kenya, you know where Runda is. And this guy, they used to have a very beautiful home in Runda, and I think the guy their parents were not in Kenya, and the house was just really big. My nephew was like, you know what, Christine, let's just go and live with my friend. Like, yeah. So I packed my things. The only person who knew I'd packed stuff was the house help, but of course she didn't say, because we used to share one room with her. So I packed my stuff on Monday. My nephew was ready. Okay, the reason why I'm calling this particular person my cousin, because he doesn't like me calling him nephew. Yeah, so I don't know what will work here, but yeah, my nephew, let's work with my nephew. So my nephew was ready and was like, so are we going or not? That was now on Tuesday. And then I was like, no, I'm still scared, blah blah blah. So everything of mine was ready in the bag. Everything was ready. Yes. So this nephew of mine was like, on Wednesday now, let's go. Why are you not leaving? Let's go. Why are you afraid? Like, what are you afraid of? Let's go. You're with me. You're safe. I was scared. Why am I leaving? Where am I going? And I think that day he left. And then on Thursday, I just felt like I could not take it anymore. Like I was tired. I went, but then I'd started going for my computer classes in town, and CBD that is. So I left and went for my classes, came back. My classes were always ending at around 1, so by 2 I was always home. So yeah, and there back then we used to have landline. So by the way, when you're not in the house, they will call the landline to find out if you're in the house. I used to have a phone, but oops, this phone, I gave it to I didn't give it to my nephew. I think either it was taken and given to my nephew. I don't know what happened, but I didn't have a phone by then. Yes, so I just felt like it's just too much. I was never in touch with my dad at that particular time. I was never in touch with my mom as much. And the reason why I was not even in touch with my mom then is because I felt like my mom wanted me to stay with my cousin, because I was this kind of rude person when I was back in high school, and I was supposed to be disciplined or something like that. But when I look back, I'm like, I just knew what I wanted. That's the thing. I just knew what I wanted. It's not like I was rude or I don't know. On Friday, I went to school. After school, I went to my friend's house, Angie. You guys all met Angie, so you know Angie, and I'll mention Angie because you've met Angie before. We were kicked out of SGR with Angie. There's a time we did situationship with Angie, and all those videos, yes, you'll check them on my channel, you'll find Angie. And then during the housewarming, Angie was there. So yeah, back then we were neighbors, and I went to their house after school, I think at around 3. She had my scarf and I had one of her scarves, so I was returning her scarf so that I can pick mine. So when I went there, unfortunately, or rather, I don't know if I should say unfortunately, but my cousin came home earlier. This is my elder cousin, you get. Then when I went back in, she was like I just like walking and just roaming around, blah 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 blah. And then I was like, I'm just from Angie's house. And then she said, go back to where you're from. Do you know that was my cue to leave? Like I left, like go back to where you're from. I was like, I am done. Like I am DONE in caps. So when I was told to leave, I went back to Angie's house and I was like, Angie, you know what? I've been told not to go back, and I am not going back. I know, yes, sometimes when you're pissed, you will say such things. Yes, I understand my cousin was either pissed because I was always causing trouble and all that, and maybe she was pissed, and to me, I took it like, leave, like go. So I decided to leave. So I went to Angie and told Angie, now this is how my running away started. So I told Angie that, Angie, you know what? I'm leaving. I want to leave. And by then, during the day, I called a friend of mine and I told that friend of mine that I really feel like I'm so stressed. I just want to, I don't know. I think I said I want to kill myself or something, but I was lying. Why would I even kill myself? Oh God, hell no. So yeah, so I just said something like that, and she told me that, hey, there's no way you're going to kill yourself. Come to our place. We will stay with you. My mom will accept you, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, sure. For real? You're serious? And then she was like, yeah. So I told Angie, by the way, earlier on, I spoke to so-and-so, because Angie knew this friend of mine. And I said that I spoke to so-and-so. And then she told me to go and meet her somewhere in CBD. So I asked Angie, where is this place? Because, of course, guys, I don't know much about CBD. Like, I knew nothing about CBD. Like, yeah, I only knew my school and a few places, and you know, I knew National Theatre was somewhere close to KBC, but I'd never gone there. So that is where my friend told me to go and meet her. So we went with Angie. I had my SIM card, because remember guys, I think 2 weeks before me running away from home, my phone had been given to someone else. I didn't have a phone, and yeah, so I had my SIM card. I did put it inside Angie's phone, and then when you go to CBD, I called my friend and asked my friend, where are you? And then my friend came with another friend of ours called, I'm going to use K, yeah, another guy, another tall handsome guy. So they came together. So when they came, picked me up from Jivanji Gardens, you know where Jivanji is, so Kumbeni under 18, you remember that song? Yeah, so there was Jivanji Garden, so yeah, so anyway, so we met at Jivanji Garden, and then my friend picked me. I said bye to Angie. Angie went back home. I went with my friend, and then we went to the National Theatre. So Christine joined the National Theatre, just like Nairobi Half-Life. For those who've watched Nairobi Half-Life, my life began. I went to the National Theatre. Of course, back home, guys were a bit worried. I'm very sure they were worried. Angie was questions, whereas Christine, Angie was, she's that cool friend of mine, you know, like, zipped up, nothing. So anyway, it was either around 4 p.m. later on in the day, because remember, this thing happened at 3 p.m. when I was told to go back where I came from. So yeah, so I think I came from the National Theatre, so I just went to the National Theatre. So yeah, so I met all these Kenyan actors and actresses. I can't mention, like, if I mention that, yeah, but anyway, I met all these most of the guys were acting in Tidy High, and my friend was acting in Tidy High then. And yeah, so she was part of Tidy High team. For those who've watched Kenyan local channels, I mean local programs, yes, she was part of Tidy High team. And yeah, so I met all these people. Life was good, like everything was just amazing. Like it was so exciting. I was excited and I was happy, but at the same time I was a bit scared about the kind of life I want to live. Remember guys, when I left home, by the way, something I didn't mention, I didn't carry anything. I just had my ID, my SIM card, my purse, and somehow I had money inside that purse, because one of my cousins once said, not the one I was staying with, used to tell me that Nyathima nyako, let me use it in my mother tongue, how it was being said. Nyathima nyako nyaka bedigi pesa all the time, you know, like a girl is supposed to, like a girl child, yes, a girl child is always supposed to have money inside their purse. So somehow I was always getting money. When one of my aunt came to visit, they would always give me money. My mother would give me money. Anyone, people would give me money. So I always had this, my purse, which used to have money. So I left with that purse in the ID, and yeah, so that's all I had. And my hairstyle, I think I did some cornrows on the side, and then my hair was very long. This natural hair was still there, so it was still like this. Yeah, and I had, I think, one hand. I had the scarf that I took from Anji's house, and I had some pants, and that's how I was, just like that. Nothing, no clothes, no nothing. That bag that I packed, I left it. Nothing, I was just like that. So I think after the practicing ended at the National Theatre, yes, I'm back to the theatre, I think around 7 p.m. So this theatre team, the drama team, the acting, the actors and the actresses, these celebrity people, we went to the club. Yes, we went to Seasons, and then when we got there, this chick here, I'd never in my life, okay, I think we tasted alcohol back when we used to have family functions at home, but I'd never gone to a club to party. Like it was the first time I went to a club. 19-year-old girl, good people, yes, the other one I'll tell you when we get there. 19-year-old girl in a club, and my friend was like, the friend that now I was handed over to, that friend of mine, the one who used to act in Tidy High. So she was like, Christy, what are you drinking? I'm like, okay, what's there to drink? Like the only thing I've tasted is Reds. For those who know, if you know, you know, Reds. So, and then she was like, no, you can have black ice. Guys, for the first time in my life, I was given a bottle of black ice. It was very chilled. Like, I took the first sip, it was amazing. Then I took that first bottle. I think they were selling it at 120 shillings. Then after having the black ice, I think after having the first bottle, I took the second bottle. The music went louder and louder. People were having fun, guys were dancing. I love dancing, good people. So I started dancing. And after, I think two more, I think I had 4 bottles that night. Imagine, for the first time. So I was so high. And I remember crying. I was really crying because I was scared. Now that's when reality checked in, like, Christine, you just ran away from home, like this is now your life. Then my friend came there, gave me a speech, and another friend of hers also came and was like, Christine, you know, sometime blah 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 blah, your life is beginning now and it's going to be for the better, and you just have to be strong. These things happen, you're now with us, you're safe. These are strangers, by the way. Other than my friend, the rest were strangers, and they've become like, they were amazing people. Like, I'm happy I met all of them. Yes, I wish I could mention all their names, but there's so many. But yeah, so that night, no one knew that even I was friends with this chick. They knew I was her sister. Like, she told them that I'm her sister, though we were so different in color, but she told them I'm a little sister. So yeah, so all of them knew I was the sister. So there were no much, they weren't questioning like, who are you, where are you? They're just like, oh, you know, blah blah blah. So the only one who knew was the one who they came with. That's the only one who was trying to, of course, advise me and all that. So that night, what happened is, because my friend was going back home, she didn't tell the mom that she was going to bring someone home. So she went home alone, but she organized with another friend of hers so that I can go and spend at her place, like their place. And this friend of hers wasn't even living in her own place, but their home. And guess where their home was? Ngong, good people. It was in Ngong. For those who know Kenya well, Nairobi, Ngong, somewhere interior. So we left that club and we went to Ngong. we got to the bus stop, we alighted, and then after that my friend was like, no, you know, we have to get a motorbike. So I was like, oh, it was very late at night, I think around 11 p.m. or midnight, I don't know, but she was like, we have to get into a bike and then blah blah blah. So we got into motorbikes and then we went. Then we go to a place where the motorbikes couldn't pass, so we were like, we have to get off the bikes and then walk home. So we walked, and hey, my good people, like I was just scared. I don't know, like it was just weird. It was, can you imagine how I was? Like, thank God my friend had given me her jacket, so I had her jacket on, so I wasn't feeling cold at all. So yeah, so we got to this other friend that I met. I don't know, I hope I'm not confusing you, but now we're in Ngong, so we got to these other friends that I met, and we got there. The mom was like, oh, your friend, blah 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 blah, and then she was like, yeah, this is my friend. Can you imagine, we just met that night? So, but they were so welcoming, and she showed me my place where I could sleep. I went, showered, and then yeah, so we slept. The next day we woke up in the morning. So of course the next day I had exams in school. I remember I had exams because remember guys, I joined some college, so I was going for my classes in town, in CBD, that is. We left their place, of course went to town. I called my friend. How did I even call my friend? I think I used the phone to call my friend and tell my friend. I told my friend that I was in school, and then my friend told me, after you're done with classes, come to Kenya Poly, because it was very close. So I was like, let me go to Kenya Polytechnic after classes. When I got there, I stayed in that with now the drama team for Kenya Polytechnic, which we used to call ourselves then Kenya Theaterholics. Yes, I stayed with the Theaterholics guys, and I became part of them. Like, that's how I joined the drama team for Kenya Poly. So yeah, which is a story for another day, but yeah. So I remember later on that day, we went with my friend to the estate where she used to stay. We didn't go straight to their house. We went to some local joint, and guys were dancing to Mugithi, and I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my god. My friend was down to earth, and it was all over, and she was living her life to the fullest. Like, when we got there, of course I wasn't, after drinking the last night, I was like, I'm not going to drink again. So I was given Stony, like Stony, for those who know Stony. Yeah, so some soda. So I had a soda. So when I was there, there's a friend of my friend, a friend of this friend of mine, the chick that I was supposed to go and stay with. Yes, I wish I could give them names, but how? Yeah, so the chick that was supposed to go and stay with, the one who was in their estates, we had not gone to the mother yet, like to their home yet, but we were in some local joint dancing. Then there's a friend of hers, there was a male friend of hers who was a bit more mature than the rest of us, and he went and asked my friend, why do you want Christine to be living in such a place, like to, you know, this kind of lifestyle? Can you just give me Christine so that I can go and stay with her, guys? And my friend said yes. She asked me, Christine, are you okay to go and stay with so and so? And I was like, it's okay. He was staying in a 3-bedroom, so he was like, I stay in a 3-bedroom. Christine can come and stay with us. The other room is occupied by my brother, the other one is mine, and she can use the other room. And then I was like, okay, all right. Good people. The journey began. So I left with this guy, and we went to his house. Yes, I left my friend in their estate, and we went to stay with this guy in his house. And his place was really, really far. Like, it was, if you know where Athi River is in Nairobi, it was somewhere close to Athi River. So when we got there, it was a big house, very big house, and he was staying there with the brother, and the brother had a friend. So it was a house full of men. I was the only innocent young girl who was there, you know. And he showed me my room. It was full. I think they were using it as a dump site, so I could not even sleep there that night. So I slept at his room. Yes, guys, I was a virgin at that time. So this story is gonna end here. Part 2 is coming soon on my next story time, and you will get to know more about how it went down that first week. That was my second night of running away from home. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this particular story, thumbs up. If you've gotten to this point, thank you so much. And until next story time, good people, part 2 of this. Kisses to you.